Having already used the two cars I had total access to, I needed a new vehicle for this chapter. A friend, Mike Levitt, had an interesting car and I just needed to coordinate my actors' schedules. However, Mike received an offer to buy the car, so I had to change my original plans. My script was two brothers picking up a hitchhiker. Nathaniel Warren said he would be available within my filming window, and his sister Talitha would also be available. I got some shots of the car to use as a pre-visualization and ended up using a few of them in the final edit. The story called for a siren character, so with that in mind, my dad made a few posts on local Arizona mermaid Facebook groups. A few were interested, and this led to the casting of Isabella Griefer. I first met with Nathaniel the day before the shoot to figure out some logistics. I knew it wouldn't be safe to try to drive and film at the same time, so I opted for a green screening. We filmed in the same plaza as Chapter 2. For the sirens filming, I didn't have anyone to hold the green screen at the proper distance, so I shot every line once with the green screen lying on the window, and once without the green screen.
Would you find folk mind?
The green screening led to artifacts, so I think the rotoscoped shots tend to look better with the proper light fall off, but I chose to edit for performance rather than VFX quality. On the day of shooting, my plan was to shoot all of the sirens parts, then Nathaniel and Talitha would arrive and we'd shoot all of their parts. Unfortunately, they were delayed, so they never actually met. This is what prompted me to have this particular shot. First, I shot all of the sirens parts, including some elements I would use later in the VFX.
Drive, move, dance, stop sitting pretty.
Nathaniel and Talitha arrived later, then it was just us three. I opted to shoot Talitha's part first because Nathaniel would be able to shoot the next day, and we were quickly running out of daylight.
Wait for sirens! It's gonna like 3 hours of audio recording.
With all the ambient traffic noise and my poor placement of the microphones, we would need to re-record all the dialogue in this chapter. Nathaniel was holding up the chroma pop when we recorded Talitha, but here I'm holding it while they're both in the shot.
How do you know us?
In the same day, we also managed to film Nathaniel's darkness shots. Here Talitha is holding the blue screen.
And then she jumps out. Whoa, what the? Hey!
The next day, my friend Lucas was free to hold up the chroma pop while we recorded.
That kind of reminds me, there was a show.
I'd use green for the daylight shots and blue screen for the dark shots. The color compression on green screen gives things a light outline, while the blue screen gives it a dark outline. I could have used the blue screen for the daytime as well, but had I used the green screen for the dark shots, it would not have looked correct and taken a lot more work to remedy. Even so, there was still a lot of rotoscoping to be done. The exterior background was several still images of plant life made to always point at the camera while they rotated on a large disc. This gave things an appropriate amount of parallax without taking as much space even in the virtual environment. I used an app called Open Camera to record this chapter. It gives a lot more control over the camera and lets you film with the full sensor, giving this 4:3 image. This let me put tracking markers in the shot and then crop them out. Every shot needed to be color corrected. The setting sun changed the light very drastically. The camera app locked in the phone's color, so it was easier than previous chapters. Like with Chapter 1, I waited until I had my edit locked down tightly before I had the actors come in to re-record their dialogue. I changed and added a few lines for better flow, too.
If it's close enough, we'll take you there.
It's gotta be within walking distance. It's only a cardinal direction away.
If it's close enough, we'll take you there.
Well, she was going there from here, so it's gotta be within walking distance.
It's only a cardinal direction away.
There are a lot of VFX in this chapter. Besides the obvious ones, I also added the road because we got these shots in the parking lot. I had no intention of using them, but I didn't have ready access to the vehicle, so I made it work with what I had. Some shots are definitely not as good as others. The firewalk probably went through the most iterations, experimenting with depth of field, texturing techniques, the frame's composition, and trying both of Blender's render engines. The car crash is a lot of cartoony squash and stretch. This, like all the vignettes, was mostly an experiment. I learned a lot and look forward to applying what I've learned. For example, you can export a video with PNG as the codec, so this way you can render videos in Blender with transparency. This was a lot easier than exporting several image sequences and let me frame things in the video editor. Useful stuff. Thanks for watching.